America needs a superhero. Hello, everyone. This is Donald Trump, hopefully your favorite president of all time, better than Lincoln, better than Washington, with an important announcement to make. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now.
Hey, what's up, folks? So Trump teased a major trailer and people were pumped, thinking it was going to be something huge and important. And then he ended up dropping his digital NFT collection, which stars him as a digital superhero. But also on the same day, Trump rolled out his idea for a digital Bill of Rights.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away.
And other interesting conversations around stopping tech censorship. We're going to react to both videos and ask the question today, did Trump's team screw up, or was this a purposeful plan to bring more attention? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and the show starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's live episode of Dream Rare Podcast. Trump was floating this major announcement in the morning. He comes out with his new NFT digital trading card collection, and most of his supporters are thinking it's stupid and get upset. But then he dropped kind of his internet Bill of Rights idea, and people are speculating if that was the big announcement or it was the NFTs. We're going to do a reaction to it, but real quick, I just want to say two things. First thing, if you're on YouTube, there's a way to get notifications from my live stream. And if you're on Facebook, you can favorite me. There's some sort of new thing on Facebook that you could pick your favorite pages. If you put me in your favorite page, you might get a notification, but it might be like 20 minutes too late. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. They'll show people my live streams, but for some reason, they're not giving people notifications. So the numbers are down in the live, but people end up seeing it later. All good, just a tip. And before I get into the reaction video, I do want to just read real quick something Trump floated this morning. It is a restoring free speech overview. His ideas are to ban federal agencies from colluding to censor Americans, ban taxpayer dollars from being used to label free speech as mis or disinformation, fire every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, immediately send preservation letters to Biden administration and big tech giants, order the DOJ to investigate all parties involved in online censorship regime and prosecute any and all crimes identified, revise Section 230, stop federal funding to all nonprofits who are engaged in censorship or academic programs, suspend federal dollars to any university that has engaged in censorship, enact criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to violate your constitutional rights, impose a 7-year cooling off period between former intel and national security officials who could work at big tech, and pass a digital Bill of Rights. So these are some of his ideas. They're good ideas. I'm going to play a little clip of what I think were his best ideas. But real quick, I do want to react to his like little NFT collection, and I'll weigh in on it, and I'll read your opinions afterwards because I want to hear your opinion. But I'm not saying you have to hold it, but I'm not going to see it until later. So let's do a reaction to his first huge announcement, and then we'll get into the one that actually matters.
Hello, everyone. This is Donald Trump, hopefully your favorite president of all time, better than Lincoln, better than Washington, with an important announcement to make. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now. They're called Trump Digital Trading Cards.
He says better than Lincoln and better than Washington. Well, I don't know, dude. I think Washington kind of helped establish the United States. There is no United States without Washington. You kind of flopped to Dr. Birx and Fauci, hired pharmacy lobbyists, printed $6 trillion, and did Operation Warp Speed for Big Pharma. I don't know if I'd say you're as good as the guy who founded the country, but if that helps you sell your NFTs, knock yourself out. Let's watch it. Better than Washington, okay? I'm better than the guy who founded it. Buy my NFTs. We're living in quite the reality tunnel here. All right, let's watch.
We're doing a lot. My official Trump digital trading cards are $99, which doesn't sound like very much for what you're getting. Buy one and you will join a very exclusive community. It's my community, and I think it's something you're going to like, and you're going to like it a lot. They also make perfect gifts. So you can buy them with your credit card or crypto. All you need is an email address.
The funniest part is, when he was in office, he's not a huge crypto or Bitcoin fan. He was saying it was a threat to the dollar, which it very well might be. I'm not saying he's wrong, but he definitely wasn't pro crypto in office. And now he's just hawking NFTs. Listen, make money. I get it. But I'll read your comments in a second. I do want to play from the Internet Bill of Rights. But before I do, a lot of people are upset by this. I mean, everybody's pretty much laughing at him because he did float this huge announcement a couple days ago. And he's like, America needs a superhero. And we're all kind of wondering, like, what's his big announcement going to be? Like, no one thought it was going to be NFTs because we're living through crazy times and people are looking for a leader, not a digital card salesman. But, some are also speculating that he purposely did that to get people's attention, to then bring more attention to the Internet Bill of Rights. Or some people are saying that the Internet Bill of Rights thing that he dropped was like, the bigger deal. And like, that was the real announcement. My personal perspective, the only one who knows or his team, is I don't think that the Internet Bill of Rights was really the announcement, because in the announcement, they were hinting towards the NFTs. They used the same sort of like Superman memorabilia stuff. So I think that was their announcement. And either, in my personal opinion, it's bad planning to do both on the same day, or this is just my guess, is that all they were going to do is the NFTs, but MAGA and conservative people were so annoyed and put off by it that they just dropped another video because of it. I don't know that for sure. I mean, I'm willing to say that that's just a guess, and I wouldn't even say I'm like 80% sure or anything. But you're floating this announcement with the same characters as you use the NFT. It's hard to think that that wasn't the big announcement one way or another. I don't buy it. But either way, I do think what he's saying here is a good idea, and I do want to play it and shed some light to it because it does matter. And whether it's him, DeSantis, Biden, obviously not going to do it, Republicans, someone should probably do what he's talking about to some extent because it's a good idea.
Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal.
I think that's a good idea. And I'm going to read a few just reactions that I thought were interesting or funny real quick, say my piece, and then I want to read some of yours. I do look at the comments because I like this to be an interactive show that you're somewhat a part of, or some people are a part of. And I noticed like someone was like, I'm really annoyed at Anomaly. Goodbye now. This is just my personal perspective. Like, the people who are obsessed with Trump are getting kind of culty. I didn't even say anything yet. I said way more critical stuff of Trump in like 100 live streams. And this one, I haven't even done anything yet. I mean, I'm going to say more. The point that I'm getting to is like, if what I said so far bothers you, that's fine. It's, everybody has an opinion. But I didn't even say that much. He put out an NFT video. I watched it. I laughed at it. I said it was like whatever. Most of MAGA feels that way. They think it's cringe. Even his biggest supporters are like, that's kind of weird. I highlighted the good things. There's going to be a lot of influencers that just mock him and laugh at him today for his NFT thing. I'm not doing that. I'm literally showing you the good part of what he said and the good part of the Internet Bill of Rights and these ideas that I think are good. So if this, I haven't even said much yet. Like, I would understand if you were annoyed in 10 minutes, but like the fact that you're annoyed now just shows how sensitive and like intolerant a lot of like Trump worshipers are getting towards any sort of like what are we supposed to do? Wow. And selling NFTs as a major announcement, so smart. That's such a good campaign move. And everyone loves it. Dude, the Hodge twins don't like it. Bryson Gray doesn't like it. All of his biggest supporters don't like it. Steve Cortez's daughter, who loves Trump, doesn't. No one seems to like it except for Dinesh D'Souza and Jack Posobiec. So and then Ron DeSantis is doing a grand jury investigation. On my Instagram, people are saying, wow, he's making me want to register as a Republican. I'm an independent. Like, he's bringing more people in. And the Trump movement, it's like, you need to obsess over the NFTs and you can't even laugh about it, or else, I'm annoyed with you. I'm not saying you can't be I can be annoying. I get it. It's just like, I didn't even say that much yet. So if that much bothers you, at what point are you trying to build a movement that involves like going somewhere? And at what point are you just gatekeeping like everything that a guy does? So my opinion that will annoy people. I personally think, I don't know if it's Dan Scavino or who's around him. I'm sure they've done a lot of good work. I do think it's kind of corny to do like this major, huge announcement, especially a day after, DeSantis just is doing a grand jury investigation into Big Pharma in Florida. That's huge. Clearly, people in the Trump MAGA world like the fact that DeSantis is doing that. And then you're floating this major announcement with this superhero character. And we're all looking for a hero because this country's falling apart. And the first thing you do in the morning before you release your other video is release NFTs under that same, symbolism that you did show. And then you use the same, he said, major announcement coming with the superhero thing. And then it was major announcement with the NFTs. I would say any press is good press, like if you're Kim Kardashian or anything else. But when you're Donald Trump, I would think that he doesn't really, and this isn't campaign money, it's just going to him. I understand that he's getting like sued and hurt in his properties. I want the guy to have billions of dollars, but it's past the point of like any press is good press. Like, Trump is starting to fall in the polls to DeSantis more than any type of press or cringy things that 80% of his base doesn't like. What he needs to show, I think, is good leadership and prove that, he could really do stuff. And I personally think that it was a campaign mistake to drop a major announcement and the first thing you do is NFTs. Like, I don't think Trump is in a position now where he's been such a good leader over the last 2 years that makes sense. He hasn't really done that much that's cool or interesting. And DeSantis has been running laps around him, which shows why the polls are that way. I'm just objectively now, I'm not telling you, people know that I feel a certain way, but it's not like DeSantis is rising in the polls. I've explained this before for no reason. Even if you like Trump more than DeSantis, acknowledge why DeSantis is rising in the polls and try to address it instead of just like hawking NFTs under a major announcement. Unless you just want to be surrounded by bootlickers, which in my personal view is what the Trump campaign has become, which is why nobody near him told them that probably wasn't the best strategy if you wanted to have your base like it. And it's not just liberals that are mad. Dude, some of his biggest supporters that have never been upset, never been bothered by anything he's done, people that have hated everything I've said, even some of his biggest supporters are like, dude, this is just dumb. Like, I don't like this. This is annoying. I'm getting tired of it. So, I understand some people will like it, but when you alienate and annoy 80% of your base, like at what point is it not everyone else's fault? And at what point do you need to look at what you're doing and be like, all right, maybe I could do something a little different or reorganize. But as far as his idea of the Internet Bill of Rights and, holding people accountable, it sounds good. It sounds great. It's just, you were there for 4 years. We've been screaming this from the rooftop since 2016. Nobody did anything. They waited till Jim Jordan got censored and everyone got censored. And then the GOP started caring in 2020, 2021 when they're out of power or out of time. So I think the ideas are good. A lot of politicians have good ideas. We'll wait to see if anybody can actually execute this or if they know what they're doing, because they had years to do this. And it wasn't like they started censoring in 2020. They started censoring Republicans. I'm talking about like Republican politicians. They've been censoring the voters, the people, Bernie people, Trump people. We've been getting censored since 2016, 2017, 2018. We've been yelling at the GOP, hey, they're censoring us. Anybody that's watched me since 2018, I've tried to explain before mass mail-in ballots, before COVID, that the way that they're socially engineering society, they've rigged the algorithms on Google and Facebook for years now, to the point where people don't understand how much power they have. If they wanted to, they could sell $1 billion in products, $1 million. They have everyone's data. Just rigging it 10% could change an entire election, in my view. And I've been telling the GOP this since 2018. So I think it's a great idea. There's a lot of great ideas there, but at what point is it too little too late? Like, I think Elon's having more success in that department than the GOP has had in 5 years, albeit he does have a lot of money, but I don't know. I don't personally know if they're actually going to do something, but we'll see. Here's a few takes that I thought were interesting. Steve Diassi from the Steve Diassi Show said, DeSantis is out here launching grand juries while Trump be out here selling trading cards. Come on, man. I think Steve Diassi is a pretty big conservative influencer. I think he's been pretty good on COVID stuff. I don't listen to him, but I've heard that. And he's getting annoyed, but I guess it's everyone else's fault, not his fault. Cernovich, who, he tends to kind of be unpredictable. Sometimes people agree or disagree. He said Trump was POTUS for 4 years Trump was POTUS and had 4 years for a free speech plan. Cernovich said, I got in a lot of trouble in 2017 when I kept yelling at people how important this stuff is. It's 2022 and Trump is finally 5 years behind the curve. No thanks. We need a visionary. We need visionary leadership, not playing catch up. I mean, I agree with Cernovich there. And the Libertarian Party on Twitter, who still follows me so they don't hate me. Thank you, LP National. They said half the people mocking Trump for selling NFTs today were silent when he was selling our nation's future out through record inflation, which might be unpopular, but I also agree with, because, a lot of conservative influencers, whether people in the comments want to admit it or not, are annoyed at Trump's antics today, and they're not thrilled with it, and they think it's corny, like major influencers. But nobody wants to talk about 2020, where he printed $6 trillion, Operation Warp Speed. He's been running around the country for 2 years saying, I've saved the world. It's the greatest human achievement, 100 million lives. It's the greatest thing. So yeah, I mean, you're mad over the NFT thing, but you aren't mad that he printed $6 trillion. This is why the Conservative Party loses. We're 5 years late on free speech. Everybody cares about a funny little thing that Trump did, but more than the fact that he printed $6 trillion. I'm one of the only influencers. When I won the debate with Styx Hexenhammer 666 satanic symbol guy, the whole debate was premised around, I said, hey, Biden's a bad president. Biden printed too much money. Biden is a loser. He's not helping. He's making it worse. But the hole was dug in 2020. The hole was not dug under Biden. It was dug, and then Biden poured gasoline on it and just made it slightly worse. But there's inflation all over the world. And the reason isn't because of Biden or Trump. It's because everybody printed too much money and shut down supply chains in 2020. So as much as the GOP and Trump wants to say, oh, it's all Biden, we didn't do anything, that's absolutely false. They absolutely imploded the economy. And as soon as they did everything they did in 2020 on every scale, it was only a matter of time until a recession came either way. I don't believe a single word they say. Does that mean I'm a Democrat? No. I think Democrats are worse. But what does it mean to be the lesser of two evils when your party does socialism and communism, prints $6 trillion, sells vaccines, but you're the bad guy for pointing it out? So I agree with LP National there. And I think it's funny that Republican influencers only care about the NFT thing over actual policy, which is why we're always 30 steps behind. So overall, I want to get to some of your comments, but I would say this. Bad decision making on Trump's campaign, but I guess we can't say that. We just have to act like everything he does is good, whether he sells vaccines, lies about them, says they saved 100 million lives. It's the greatest human achievement. He loves Johnson & Johnson. He's just playing 5D chess, or else everyone's going to get mad. I stopped playing that game 2 years ago, and everybody's starting to catch up. That's great. We have to act like this was a great strategic move because Dinesh D'Souza said so. Eventually that circle is going to get smaller and smaller of people who are just sniffing his butt, and people are tired of it. So I don't think it was a good idea. I think the internet thing's a good idea, but I just don't think it was a great move, and that's how I feel. And I think DeSantis is making Trump look dumb every day. So I guess we could just pretend that that's not happening and just let Trump fall further and further and further and further. I don't think that makes you a good friend. And I will read your comments, but when I called this stuff out in 2020, if people would have corrected it and Trump would have corrected it, there would be no rise of DeSantis. Nobody would have really cared that much. Yeah, he would have been popular, I think, but Trump is a bigger star than him. The only reason there's certain polls where Trump is down 20 points on DeSantis. I'm not saying it's true, but Trump is tanking in the betting odds. Like DeSantis is a massive favorite on all the betting odd websites now. Why? Because Trump has blown it. And it's no offense, but it's people surrounding him, sniffing his butt, being like, that's a great idea. Yeah, make this major announcement when everyone's suffering and, make this major announcement and then have it be your NFT sales. Like, I don't care if he sells NFTs, make your money, sell merchandise, Trump coins. I don't care. But don't tease us with this massive announcement when DeSantis is doing a grand jury on Big Pharma and your major announcement is NFTs when everybody knows you don't even like crypto and you tried to end it. Like, it's just all fake and dumb. But no, don't tell him. Just let him keep sinking. So it's only the Dinesh D'Souza's surround. And I'm not knocking Dinesh. He makes some good films. I'm just saying, like, that circle is getting smaller and smaller. Trump is like going further down the polls, and all the people surrounding him are like, yeah, keep doing that. No, don't do that. So you can actually rise again. I mean, he's shooting himself in the foot every week, but I'm the bad one for pointing it out. If people would have had a conversation with him and if he would have listened a year ago, there would be no DeSantis over Trump. It's only Trump digging his own hole, and the people surrounding him saying, keep going, is like, you're only hurting him. I want to help the guy. I think he's a American legend. I think Trump is better than Biden, and I think he's got a good heart deep down there, but below his ego, I think he's got a nice heart and a good soul. I just think he's not going in the right direction, and it's kind of sad. It's like seeing Tom Brady just like throw 40 interceptions. It's like, it's sad. I like Trump. He was a hero at one time. It just feels bad. And I don't know why people won't tell him. Let me see. Someone said, Casey said, maybe these stupid announcements keep Trump making will lead up to the next one being he's running for the Speaker of the House. Maybe it's putting policy out there and will make sense. Well, he's running for president, so I don't think he's running for Speaker of the House. And I hear you, my brother, or I don't know if you're a guy, hopefully, or else I just misgendered you, which is a violation of Facebook, and I might have my whole life destroyed now. But regardless, I feel like this is what and I'm not knocking you, but this is just an analysis. This is what the Trump movement has started to become now. It's always like making excuses. Well, like maybe it was stupid because he's running for Speaker of the House. Maybe, but maybe he's not running for Speaker of the House, and it was just a dumb move. Like, with DeSantis, we don't have to be like, and I'm not saying he's your best friend. It's just like, maybe he did the grand jury announcement. No, he did the grand jury announcement and he explained it. There is no hidden messages in it. It's like, this is my grand jury announcement. I'm going for Big Pharma. I think I'll be successful. Here's what I'm doing. There's no games of like, maybe he's running for speaker. It's like, maybe Trump is just going in the wrong direction. Maybe, but I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just saying, like, aren't people tired of just, instead of like winning and showing results and saying things that make sense, we got to play this game of like, maybe all of these mistakes he's making are secret ways to the Speaker of the House. Maybe, or maybe he's just messing up. I don't know. Robert said with the super chat, if you look at everything going on as a reality show, as a reality TV show, I feel Trump was a hoax on the American people. Why not get Kristi Noem and Tulsi Gabbard to run as a team? Americans need to stop thinking politicians care about them. He could be a hoax. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. And as far as Kristi Noem and Tulsi Gabbard, I have some question marks about them as well. So, I'll just, regardless of who's there, I'll try to do my job and be, analyze what's going on. But I hear you. I mean, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to think Trump has a big heart and a soul. I think ego will destroy any man. Even with Patty Pimblett, we talked about it yesterday. I don't want to bore people who don't like MMA, but this guy's the biggest star in the UFC. And he went from being the biggest star in the UFC to getting ratioed on all his posts because he won a really bad decision. The judges seemed like that terrible. I'm not going to say they cheated, but it seemed like it. And now he won't, if he admitted and Patty said, hey, that was, it was a close fight. everybody would still love him. But he's saying, oh, I won it so easy. And everybody knows he didn't. It's ego. Ego has taken Paddy Pimblett from the biggest UFC fighter to like the biggest clown. And now he can't even get love on his own Instagram page. And that's like Trump. I'm not going to say he's a bad person, but he's acting like it because his ego is so big. You know what I'm saying? He's just making a fool of himself all the time. He's the only one who could steal his thunder, and he keeps doing it. Let's see. Someone said Pharma's the other elephant in the room that Ye needs to turn his laser beam on. If he thought the other group was evil, try to poke at Big Pharma. Yeah, I don't think that Ye knows that much about Big Pharma. I mean, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but he doesn't seem like, clearly that's not a topic that really matters a lot to him. But that's where, there's other people that are experts at that, like real experts, not fake experts. There's a lot of people that are going hard at Pharma. So, I mean, I guess if Ye wants to run for president, he definitely needs to tap into that and get more educated on it. Someone said Trump was calling out CRT, homelessness, corruption for years, and DeSantis just started after being in Congress since 2012. I hear you. That's a valid, that's a valid, I guess, criticism. Like if you were at a DeSantis town hall, you could just say, how come did you just start doing this recently? Like you've been in Congress for a long time. Like why did no one care? Or why weren't you talking about this? Let's see. Someone said, I've been at Bug Pharma for a year. I know you meant Big Pharma, but it's okay. Someone said even Nicki Minaj called that one out. Yeah, she was surprisingly awake on that topic, I think. Someone said DeSantis is another puppet. It's obvious, said the Bob Holly Band. I do think everybody's controllable in the same direction. I've talked about it a lot. So I think it matters. It's like shining a light. If you shine the light on how Trump and DeSantis are being controlled, that's when it gets exposed. When everybody ignores it, that's when it continues. So I think, I do think that it's important to hold both of them accountable. Someone said NASA build motherships. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but let's see. We, the people, ultimately should save America. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I obviously have my critiques, but at the end of the day, definitely people need to play their role and not just sit back, in my view. Someone said Americans in general are ignorant yet arrogant. I think that's our best and worst quality. I think Americans absolutely we're a little headstrong, as they say. And that's one of our worst qualities, but also it's kind of one of our best qualities. Like the rest of the world is ooh, we love croissants and cigarettes and Nutella. And it's like, yeah, we like Nutella too, but we like guns, boy. Oh, but we like, we like chocolate and we like lattes. Like we like lattes too, but we also like guns. And then the rest of the world's like, oh no, the Americans are so crazy. And it's like, yeah, I feel like that's the vibe I see where, yes, we are a little ignorant, but we also understand free speech and the Second Amendment. So as a proud American, I'd rather be a little ignorant with the understanding of why the First and Second Amendment are important rather than pseudo intellectual, ew, but we love Nutella and we don't like amendments. It's like, yeah, we're American. We don't care. Sorry. It's like that type of energy. I hear you, but the rest of the world, they're so intellectual, but they can't figure out how to keep their own, free speech and keep their own government at bay. I mean, we clearly can't figure out how to keep our government at bay either, but we're getting close. Let me see. Casey said, Trump and DeSantis may be working together. They can't announce that they are, or DeSantis will be ruined. I don't for a minute think they are enemies. Both are smart for that. One always one step ahead. Once again, they could be, but this is my best guess based on the information I've been given. Obviously, I don't know everything. I think Trump is mad at DeSantis because DeSantis is leveraging to run against him, and Trump is very annoyed at that for obvious reasons. But also what people don't realize is there's a lot of big donors that are essentially kingmakers in the GOP. Even when Trump had a lot of donors against him, eventually the donors started coming around to Trump once he started winning the nominee. And, Sheldon Adelson. Trump got a lot of big donor money. Don't get it twisted. It's not like all the big donors hated him. No, a lot of them loved him and a lot of them gave him hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a fact. So DeSantis is running, and a lot of the big donors, many of which used to give donor money to Trump, are now giving their donor money to DeSantis. So Trump sees that as a threat. Oh, this guy's going to run against me and he's going to get more money than me, which means, trouble if you're going to run against. So to me, that's what's going on. I don't think they're getting along perfectly. I think DeSantis is ready to, make his play as the top dog, and probably successfully at this rate if Trump keeps doing what he's doing. So, as somebody that's not knee deep in politics, because I'm not into it, but I'm adjacent where I've gone to things, you don't realize how many of these influencers and politicians that you think care so much about you, you have no idea how many of them care about donor money. I've said this before, but they're like fighting over me. Don't talk to them. They're taking my donor money. I'm like, you're talking to me. I don't get donor money. So why would I care who got the donor? Like, that's your problem. Don't make it my problem. So, so many of these people in politics, whether they're on the media side or the politics side, you think they're fighting over you, or they're fighting over donor money. They all want hundreds of millions of dollars so they can win elections and go on stages and, pass speech laws or whatever they're doing. Let's read some things. Someone said conservatives need a new party, sick of all the elites. I think it's changeable, but I think it's a numbers game. Once the base, like at this moment, there's a lot of good energy going on in the base. It's just, people need to switch their direction. It's happening. I'm not pessimistic about stuff. I mean, what they're doing to our country is insane, but I think culturally, with what's going on this year, the truth will be revealed. Life goes in cycles. I personally don't think it's the end times. I mean, it could be. It's definitely getting closer. But, Christians always think it's the end times. And if you go thousands of years in histories after Jesus Christ, you have cycles. It's not, Christians like to act like, oh, before, Satanists take over or whatever, it's like, oh, it was all great. It's not true. Read history. There were times when Christians were losing, had to fight back, losing, had to fight back. Martin Luther. It's always been sort of a cycle where good times create weak men create hard times. That's always happened. And people are coming back to Christ. A lot of people are starting to learn how their political party has been co-opted, and how there's, most Christian conservatives in politics are fake and, I would say compromised or misleading, and nobody's perfect. We're all flawed. I'm not trying to act like you're a bad Christian because you made a mistake. I'm just saying, like, people are waking up. I feel great, really. I don't know. I don't feel good about what happened in the stock market today. I don't feel good about inflation. But as far as culturally, I do feel like the Republican Party is about to get swamped by not just people who like Trump or DeSantis, but by this movement they've been trying to suppress, that understand who they're really working for and what they're really about. Someone said, let me see. There is no way the powers that will allow Trump back in office. 2020 was never corrected, so why would 2024 be any different? This is how a lot of his supporters feel. I think, to be honest, this is another way he shot himself in the foot. On one hand, he's running for office. On another hand, he's telling people it doesn't matter. On one hand, plenty of conservatives are winning races by big points. On another hand, he's endorsing bad candidates. I think he's just a bad leader. I'm not saying you can't tell people that the election was what it was, but it's like, to me, Trump is completely aimless. I think he's like spiraling in circles for himself, but he doesn't realize how to lead. Your biggest supporters don't even think the election matters, but you're still running for office. So how are you going to win an election when your most loyal supporters believe you and don't even think voting matters? Like, he doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, DeSantis is winning by 10 points. A lot of people in the California GOP flip seats because ballot harvesting is legal in California. So people have started doing it, winning elections. A lot of people won tough elections, but nope, Trump's somehow going to win the election, even though his biggest supporters don't think they should even vote. Like, he's a walking contradiction at this point. It's like, if you really think that, yeah, I don't know, like, where, I'm not saying you can't criticize and talk about the election, but like, have a plan that works. I don't think Trump has a plan. I think DeSantis is like this, and Trump's just like, just grasping onto whatever he can grasp onto. And it's like, as a man that used to like Trump, I used to consider Trump a leader. First of all, he was the president of the United States. Second of all, I think he was doing a pretty damn good job. So I looked up to him as a leader. As a man, I'll look up to a man, not like God, but if I'm not the leader in a situation, I identify it. It's like, that's the leader. You know, it's like a office. It's like everybody's not that position. You got to play your role. I'm not someone who's seeking for attention. Like I played my role from 2016 to 2019, and Trump did a good job. He's not that guy anymore. For me, I don't look up to him like a leader. I think he's a pathetic leader. Like I just think he's like aimless and like just spiraling and running around selling vaccines and like getting mad at people for not following him. He's not learning his lesson. He wants loyalty, but he doesn't have any. Like I don't look at him the same way I used to. Like, oh, he's a better leader than me. I really should just follow and listen. Like now it's just like, dude, it's weak leadership. Someone said January 6th still rotting in jail. And he made a video about that, but only because Ye kind of poked him. And then he made a video about that, which proves my entire theory of the last 2 years is when not literally poke Trump, because you'll get arrested and probably shot by Secret Service, but metaphorically, if you poke Trump a little bit and like tell him the truth, he actually does something. It took Ye calling him out about the January 6ers for Trump to do something about the January 6ers and make a statement. Like that's why he did it, because of Ye. Which proves the theory I've been telling people for 2 years. I don't hate the guy. It's just like acting like his poop doesn't stink is only sinking his ship. That's not competition. I like to poke a little bit. I'm not trying to be rude, but like libertarians, Republicans, I don't hate libertarians or Republicans. I like them. That's why I poke at them. I don't think fighting with the left is going to make our party better. I'm over the left. I just ignore them like they're children because, to be honest, they act like one. I'm at this point, and I'm not saying I'm so smart, but I'm too smart to have dumb conversations. I'm not going to talk to a left winger. Oh, that's a problematic term you just used. That's problematic. That's why Ye walked out on the interview with Tim Pool, because he's like, let's just talk about individuals and not groups. It's like, no one does that. No one talks about it group. Like everyone uses groups to explain something. So now I can't have dumb conversations. Like, oh, it's problematic. You misgendered. Like, that's why I ignore the left. We need to rearrange our party. Like fighting with the crazies on the left isn't going to do everything, but someone needs to be out there doing journalism on what they're doing. So I'm not knocking the people that cover them. It's just like, what are we doing? Let's see. Someone said Trump is the leader of the band on the Titanic. It kind of feels that way, dude. That's a good theory where I'm not like, yo, I hate this guy. He shouldn't run. He should go to jail. I don't have TDS. I'm like, yo, I think he's going in the wrong direction. I know he's going in the wrong direction. 2 years ago, look at it's like Trump and DeSantis is like 20 points behind him. Now they're neck and neck and DeSantis is moving ahead. Why? It's everyone else's fault? No, it's Trump, dude. But, it is a sinking ship, but I'm not trying to hurt him. It's like, dude, stop. Let me see. Someone said Trump is still not spoken about the shot. Well, he's telling people in his inner circle that he's trying to gatekeep the vaccine, basically. He's telling people in his inner circle, if you want to be in my inner circle, don't talk about this stuff. Or don't blame me or don't expect me to do it. Leave it alone. I like it. I saved the world. I saved 100 million lives. We did a good thing. Pfizer, Johnson, Moderna, Fauci, we all crushed it. I pushed them. I rushed the FDA. I'm the vaccine guy. I'm the father of the vaccine. And that's what I think. And if you want to be in my inner circle, you just have to let me talk like that. So everybody's like, yeah. But they all know it's not true, but they all do it for the power. I get it. It's just at a certain point, this is where I agree with Ye more than Trump. And I know he's not saying it in a way people want him to, but he's saying we need to get back to Christ. We need to get back to God. And I understand people are saying separation of church and state, but I'm just saying as a leader, like the truth, if God offends you, just say the universe or the truth. I don't really care because I'm not trying to. But in general, it's like the truth is the truth. And this is my view on how things work. If you're walking in truth and you're walking in God, I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but it's stronger than walking in a lie. The truth will last for 100 years. The truth will last forever. The lie will only last for so long. It always falls apart because it's not true. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying you can't make mistakes in your personal life. Everybody does that. You can always come back from a fall down. It's happened to a lot of people. I'm just saying, like, if your campaign is now like, I'm going to walk around the country saying my vaccine saved 100 million lives and nobody should question me about it, that's not a godly movement. That's not it's a weak, pathetic movement that's bound to fall. So I'm trying to say, let's correct that so this guy doesn't sink, and everyone else around him saying like, I know he's lying, I know it's this, but I'm just going to keep doing it. Well, you're going to sink too. I'm not going to sink on that ship. So, I can't lie in order to keep a power position. My power doesn't come from lying. My power doesn't come from licking boots. My power comes from the opposite. And that's why I'm not trying to brag, but if you look at some of my engagement on Twitter and other things, my power doesn't come from having to suck off a donor for $10,000. And I'm not saying that's happening, but you get it. So, I'm going like, we're not moving because it's not coming from a place of like, it's all real. And I try to mix it with compassion and understanding because I'm not just trying to like point the finger all the time. I'm trying to be reasonable about it, but that's not going anywhere. So we've said it for years here. Let's see. Julie Ann said the truth is subjective. Today, the truth can be manipulated and articles and reports can be changed. I hear what you're saying. The history books can be a lie. People can lie about the truth, but the truth doesn't change. For instance, if they say, oh, this product is safe and effective, it's 100% effective and no one can get hurt from it, they can lie about it. People can believe it. They can write it in documents. They could put that in the history books, but that doesn't mean it's true. It wasn't 100% effective. So I think I hear what you're saying. Definitely they can manipulate society and, the world and the media and the education system. But as far as over time, I like to think that, you can only lie so much. Eventually it collapses. And, if you say the sun is this or climate change, the whole, everything's going to be underwater in 10 years and then 10 years pass and it's not underwater. You might have lied to everybody, but it didn't happen, So Robert said with a super chat, thank you. He said, if people want truth, look at those who have died to expose it. Then look at the people they were connected to. It's always about control. Look at the holistic doctors who died opposing big pharma. I've heard of that, and I've even looked into some of it. I understand that there have been whistleblowers or people that were critical of big pharma who have mysteriously died. A lot of crypto people are mysteriously dying now. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but there, I don't know. It's definitely worth looking into. I've heard of the big pharma stuff, and when it comes to crypto, there's a lot of like crypto billionaires and millionaires who are just like suspiciously passing. Luckily, I've only lost money on crypto and I hate it. So I don't hate it, but it's like I always lose. So I don't have enough money where I'm in that department. Let me see. Read some comments. Someone said, no, Trump didn't have authority to stop the lockdowns. We're not even talking about that. So I've had that conversation. I probably mentioned my point like 1,000 times. So I'm not even going to go there because we've literally had this conversation 1,000 times. And no one even mentioned that today. I don't think. So it's like people go to default NPC mode and they're like, he couldn't do anything. Yeah, he just had to print $6 trillion. He had to give them $18 billion. He had to pass executive orders to give the CDC stuff. And that imploded the economy, but it had to happen. Like, we're not even talking about what you're talking about, but all that's fine because this party is like, we're over it, guys. People here are over it. Like, we're not living in the past. And this is a point that I think Cernovich made that was interesting. He was like, we need a visionary leader. We don't need a leader who screwed up when he was in office. And then 5 years later, after we all said in 2017, he's now on it. Like, you're playing catch up. We need a visionary. We need someone who's ahead of the curve. Trump was that guy in 2016, 2017. Now he's 20 steps behind. He's not someone who can identify the situation and correct it immediately. He's someone that no one wants to hold him accountable. It's not going anywhere. Someone said cryptos for the gullible sheep. Maybe, I don't know. I know there's a lot of crypto lovers and a lot of crypto haters. I've only lost money on it, I think, and it's sad. And I always pick the wrong time to buy in or sell. So I'm certainly not an expert. Someone says, should we ban vaccines or not? I mean, I'm not going to say ban them, no, but I want the liability shields taken off of them. That's what I want. I think they've gotten more and more and more corrupt because they have a liability shield. I would love to remove the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, the PrEP Act. Without the PrEP Act, there is no Operation Warp Speed because they're liable for every injury and death. Before the mRNA shots, people don't realize how insane this is and why Trump is a psychopath for bragging about this outside of the lockdowns. Like, Trump is a full-blown psychopath for thinking this is a good idea. Before these shots came out, I think the quickest vaccine to market, you'd have to look it up, it was like 4 or 5 years. Like, it takes a long time to even approve it, even under the FDA now. I mean, they're not, in my opinion, they're not even good now. But there's a National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act where they don't have any liability for side effects or injuries, so they can never get sued. They have a total liability shield, but they still take years to study because they still have somewhat of a safety standard. I don't think the FDA is great, but they do, like, it's not like they rush them out in a year. They've always taken 4, 5, 6 years at minimum to rush out to the public. That's rushing, is like 4 or 5 years. Trump is bragging about strong arming the FDA to rush it out in 9 months. If that's the truth, he should go to prison. I mean, I'm not saying he should go for this or that, but if you rush the FDA, I mean, Trump is a criminal. If what he's saying is true, that he strong armed the FDA and pushed them to get this out years ahead of schedule, he's a full-blown psychopath and a horrible, evil person. So there's nothing good about that. And on top of rushing this Operation Warp Speed is the fact that these aren't even normal vaccines. These, I mean, according to the definition of what that word means, it's not even one, but they're not going to say that, so whatever. But, you know, it's synthetic mRNA. The Pfizer and the Moderna are synthetic mRNA injections who have never been approved to the public. They've worked on them, but they've never approved them. The only reason these were approved so fast is because there was an emergency. They got massive funding through the government. It was big pharma socialism. This had nothing to do with the free market, nothing at all to do with the free market or conservatism or capitalism. It's a total socialist communist move. The government gives them all the money. The government owns the patents. The government funds it. The government buys it. Then they push it out to the public. They have a pharmacy lobbyist that Trump hired, you know, declare an emergency, which then shields them from total liability. And now they're out to the public in under 9 months, not 4 or 5 years. And then Trump sits on television and brags about how he's the one who rushed him. He's a full-blown criminal if that's true. I hope he's lying, because the fact that people aren't even taking him seriously for saying that. But then why are you lying? Doesn't make sense. So there's nothing good about what happened. And it's not because I think they should ban them. They shouldn't ban all these medical products, but they shouldn't force them on people, shield their liability, you know, jack them into kids, but then take no liability. I mean, in my opinion, the whole industry is evil because of the liability shields. If you're going to pump this into millions of kids a year and millions of people a year, I think you should have liability for side effects and injuries, you know, and you'll be a lot more careful at that point. But now they don't care. I mean, a little bit they care. Not really, though, because they made a reporting system called VAERS to look over the injuries, and now they act like it's a conspiracy theory. So I would say they actually don't care, because the whole reporting system that they created to care has now been covered up as like a far right wing theory when it's the government system to track them. So, you know, outside of lockdowns, there's nothing good about all this stuff. And I don't think they should be illegal, but I think it should be illegal to shield yourself from liability. I think it should be illegal to, you know, declare an emergency from a pharmacy lobbyist. And then all of a sudden, like, Trump wants to not allow people in tech to work in the government, or people in government to work in tech. Why? I agree, but why not allow people in big pharma to work in government? Trump plucked a big pharma shill and put him at the top of the health department in America. And then people want to act like it was just Fauci and just Democrats. If Trump didn't hire a pharmacy lobbyist for HHS and he put someone like a Joseph Ladapo, who I've been saying his name wrong, calling him Lapato, this could have looked a whole different. This whole entire pandemic could have looked differently. But Trump surrounded himself by big pharma swampers. And I'm one of the only conservative influencers who actually voted for Trump that's willing to report it, because I'm not fake. That's why I'm going to be there when all these grifters fade off, when the boots that they're licking overturn, or when the truth about what the information they put out really comes out. They're not going to be around forever. You know, I'll be here for as long as I want to be, because people respect what I do, because I'm not a liar. And sadly, there's very few people like it. I'm not that special, but apparently I am, because everybody wants to lie so much. It's like, whether Hillary does it, Trump does it, nothing about any of that was good. And it didn't just root from Fauci or Birx. Trump put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of the Human Health Services, which launched all of this stuff. He aligned himself with Bill Gates even. He had a meeting with Bill Gates in 2018. He gave him a position in the White House, which Bill Gates declined. And then Trump passed an executive order in 2019 that was word for word exactly what Bill Gates was saying to the press. So I'm not just taking Bill Gates's words by it, but it's obvious. It's just logical. Bill Gates says, me and Trump talked about this, and this. And then a year later, Trump passes an executive order for Big Pharma that has all the things Bill Gates said in it. So Trump absolutely took the meeting, and Trump absolutely did the bidding of Bill Gates. He's not your friend. He's not a hero. He's not a truth teller. And this is the truth. I don't care what it costs, because 2 years later, the truth is on my side. His ship is sinking, and everybody likes DeSantis more than Trump. Not because they like the establishment, because DeSantis is actually doing something about Big Pharma, and Trump's running in circles selling NFTs. Okay, it's a big difference. Someone said, you're funny, you're not that important. I'm not saying I mean, it's not like I'm building a bridge that's going to save the world or anything, or, inventing a cure. Yeah, I'm not that important, but I would say I'm more important than a lot of influencers who are doing nothing. But on a scale of like important people, I didn't invent the PCR test like Carrie Mullis, who probably would have been against how they were using it, but that's fine. Let me see. Intro pretty cringe, brah. You waited 51 minutes to complain about the intro. I'm not even mad that you complained about my intro. I'm just mad that you waited 51 minutes. Like, why now? Why not say that earlier? Unless you wanted me to see it. In fact, and then it worked. Let's see. Someone said DeSantis is a disgusting rat. For blank, worse than Trump. I mean, you call him what you want, as long a little harsh, but as long as you're in the right and trying to hold him accountable in a righteous way, that's fine. Let me see. I'd like to see that "Don't Tase Me, Bro" guy and the other Jewish guy debate, since they both have different ideas of what being a Jew is. It would be a good debate. I blocked the "Don't Tase Me, Bro" on Twitter because he was annoying me, but me and Andrew are friends, so maybe I'll unblock him soon. He was lashing out at me on election day. He was being very emotional, like a woman, and like, I like the GOP was like winning hard, and then they started losing, and then he was like freaking out and crying and like just being very emotional. Don't tase me, bro, Andrew. Basically, like, I made the point, and I wasn't saying that there was no funny business, but I made the point that DeSantis won by a lot of points. You know what I'm saying? I basically made the point, like, DeSantis ran a good campaign. And he's like, no, DeSantis didn't make Florida red. I'm like, it was just a blue state. It's a swing state. No, DeSantis didn't make Florida red. Anyone could have done that. Anyone couldn't have done that. I'm sorry. There's a lot of other swing states that didn't go red. Say what you want about DeSantis or who he is, but I think he did a good job making Florida more red. Oh, but Andrew's crying on election day, so he's accusing me of things and saying, "Oh, you're sold out. You're a sellout because you're." I'm like, bro, have your little female, cry session. Talk to me in a few days. Like, I understand people are emotional on election night, but don't take it out on me. Someone said DeSantis is the best we've had in decades. I mean, whether people like him or not, I think the one thing that I took away from DeSantis is governors actually can do something, and most of them don't really do that much or even try to do that much. So I think he's at least exposed how much you're able to do if you actually care and try. Like, I don't think any governor really wields their power very effectively, in my view. So I think he's LeBron James says Anomaly is my friend who I don't like. Well, LeBron, if this is really you, I'm going to assume it's really you because, it would be vain to think otherwise. But LeBron, you're a friend I don't like either. You were my favorite basketball player, but then you're like a Hillary Clinton supporter and you're such a hypocrite and you don't talk about China, but, so I don't like you either, LeBron James. You're a friend I don't like as well. You're still one of the best players ever, but you're a loser, in my opinion. But God bless you, LeBron, and thank you for being you. I know it's the real LeBron and not just a fake account, because I like to think that that's the truth. Let's see. Someone said, I like to go to work and walk around without a muzzle. Thanks to Santis. Anomaly, you should get Brendan McConnell on the live. Basically the same as you, supporting Israeli people, but not the government. Yeah, and here's my thing with the Israeli government. Like, I I like Israeli people. I don't agree with the government, but here's the thing. I'm more critical of the American government. It's not because I don't want to criticize Israel, but like my problem, and I understand the Israel Palestine thing is like not a good situation for both sides. But my point is this, like American politicians need to prioritize America. Israel prioritizes their people. I'm not saying they do it in the most ethical way, but I'm not expecting Israel's government to care about me. I'm just shocked that my own political party cares more about their big donors and passing speech laws than they care about America. So, that's more of my disagreement. It's like the Saudi Arabian government. Do I like them? I mean, probably not, but like, do I spend that much time criticizing them? I don't know. I mean, I'm more interested in our government, and not because I think we're so much bad, but it's like I vote in my elections. I don't vote for Israel or Saudi Arabia, so I'm tapped into like how can we be better? Because if we're better, then we're more well equipped to have conversations with Saudi Arabia and Israel. But with Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, like this is not good. This like my number one concern is not the guy in Saudi Arabia or Netanyahu when Joe Biden's representing my country. Like that's, who would I like say what you want about Netanyahu? He's not worse than Biden for his country. If you're Israeli, I mean, if you're American, Netanyahu's not your best friend, but if you're Israeli, you're like, well, I mean, he's going to do what we need, I guess. And he's not totally dumb. Like Joe Biden's a more pathetic leader than Putin or Zelensky. Like Joe Biden's probably the most pathetic leader that I've seen because I can't translate every country. I'm sure there's worse leaders, but for sure, this country needs to focus on this country. Someone said Anomaly should collab with Kieran the Light. That would be dope. He is dope. I have one of his songs on my playlist. Is like a Christian rapper. Netanyahu, say it right. Oh yeah, Netanyahu. I forgot. Someone said Andrew claims Jewish is a religion, but the other guy said it isn't. Yeah, that's the thing. Not all Jewish people agree on what it means to be Jewish. Like you could find debates out there. There's Orthodox rabbis, there's atheist liberal Jews, there's Israelis who think that it's a race, there's Andrew who thinks that it's a religion, and there's people who think you're not a real Jew if you don't follow the religion. There is no complete agreement, so I think it would be a good debate to some extent, but they could have it on their own, or I don't think everyone agrees. I never said that either, but I hear what you're saying. Someone said, have a Jesus special on Christmas Day and talk about Jesus, see if people want to talk about him. Well, as much as I would like to do that, I'm definitely going to take off on Christmas and try to just like enjoy my time with my family. And, but Merry Christmas. And hopefully people do tap into Jesus for Christmas, but I'm not going to do a Christmas stream, most likely. Who do I think will get the Dem nomination? I don't know how old Joe Biden really is. Like, I mean, I could see the age, but is he going to be the nominee? I don't know. Is it going to be Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris? No idea. I would say either Biden or Gavin. Oh, I don't want Gavin Newsom. Honestly, like that would somehow be worse, in my opinion. Like Biden is just an idiot. Like I look at Biden and like Pelosi are just like empty vessels, like no soul, but like effective leaders in the sense that they just stand there and just like people just like use them and they just do whatever they're told. Something about Gavin seems a little more calculated. I'm not saying he's not also like that, but I like as bad as Biden is, I don't know that Gavin Newsom would be an improvement. What do you guys think? It's just like, would he be worse or better than Biden? I think worse for some reason. I don't know why. I just don't want to listen to that guy on TV or anything. It's more fun making fun of Biden. Someone said, are you bored? Is that what this is? You're just bored, little boy, chunky boy? Calling me a chunky boy. No comments on that one. All right. I think I'm going to take off. I want to keep this under an hour. I try to do that. God bless you. God bless your family. Try to get notifications. Follow me on Telegram, Twitter, anywhere that I'm found. I appreciate everybody who follows me on there. And dreamrarelinks.com has everything. Pick up a hat before Christmas if you're late. What are you doing? You shouldn't wait this long.